Hi, hello, and welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate and officiate really the 1111 Divine Lovers Council for the period in between let's do this for the Virgo new moon since it's coming out. Give me a second. No. Okay, so let me follow my original orders, which I just so nicely got reminded of. This is going to be from the period between the 17th of August to the 2nd of September. It's going to start clearing and dissipating the cycle around the 30th, the day before the full moon. What we will cover today is more skewed towards, okay, the divine masculine, okay, and since it's the full, we'll talk more, full moon, we'll talk more about the karmic side. Now, we're going to do both, okay, karmic and 1111 divine lovers, which is the twin flame. But it's going to be, I'm going to tell my findings to the feminine and give my guidance to the masculine. Next month, I'll give my findings to the masculine and give my guidance to the feminine, just like we did last month. So this month is about the masculine. Now, luckily, you'll back to back, you'll have another 1111 divine lovers series in a couple of days. So let's go ahead and do this. Oops. Okay, folks, don't get too confused. I'm with it. All right, so that was a long way to get to where we are now. It This is about a new crisis. So at some levels, a new crisis could be a realization that there's a connection here. The feminine may, okay, so we're gonna do the findings. All right, so this is about a new crisis and it's coming to the masculine. So the masculine is gonna have inciting incidents. It's gonna have blinding flashes of the obvious. They're gonna also have frightening experiences of awareness. It may also put them in an instinctual place, however, momentarily. All right, now this is coming to their insight, self-illumination, okay? And that's actually what's going to open up the gate for the cycle to end, whether or not they come forward. Now, there may be contact. If you're a feminine watching, the masculine, whatever cycle they're in, they're going towards, well, they're being attracted to you. You are pulling them towards you. So basically, your negative polarity is matching the vibration of their positive polarity. They're the party, person, place, or thing. Oftentimes, it's the universal spirit anchoring themselves into the physical through a person, place, or thing. So remember Divine Partnership series, the 1111 Divine Lover series, that's an 11 by 11 card reading. So we have 22 positions here. There's actually 23 cards. So we have one extra card, and it's actually pretty great because it's giving me a lot more control over this. All right, so this is designing their life. If the masculine is working on getting their life together, that's something significant. If he were even to make the journey towards the feminine, now he doesn't know how, they don't know how. It's really more of like, okay, if the seeker is the masculine and the feminine is the target, the masculine is a little bit, unless they're learning how to sail or innovating or creating, they are not actually moving towards the feminine. Now, they will be attracted to, they will go towards, but they need to get under and become aware of their intuition. The moon abstained. So they're overly mental in their beliefs, and they need to use spiritual practices in order to liberate their mind. That's really interesting. It seems like they should get a little bit of help. It doesn't need to be one-on-one. It could be like, life coach DVDs, CDs, or even going to like, the word I'm hearing is convention. Because hiding behind the scenes is the fact that there's some spiritual work and development that they need to go through, or that there are spiritual laws that are standing in opposition to them. There's something about them criminal or corrupt. It is an obsessive love connection, and it isn't necessarily in alignment at all. It is absolute karma. It will be destroyed, the connection, severed. Um, because it seems like the feminine is really in alignment and the masculine really isn't. Now, the feminine doesn't mean that she's not going through stuff. She is still working. She's just now finding her strength, courage, and wisdom. So she's willing to detach. And the masculine, well, the masculine's on a journey of crisis, this collapsing dreams, visions, connections as well. There's something hostile going on a soul level with them. And it's their mind. They may have been, I don't really want to say a liar, but they were deceiving. It would be self-deception, or it would be somebody who's not actually focusing on this right now. And I say that in terms of the indicators, they're not focusing on this journey. They're actually halted or delayed, and they have already recognized that their strength, courage, and wisdom for going down this journey. It's just that well, the journey is delayed, period. They're either looking into ways on how to overcome this. They might be focusing on something that's in the way of coming to this connection. I'm being told it's addiction. That when this person steps into alignment, the connection actually can come into fruition. It's advised that the masculine dissipate some more shadow. What does that mean? It means purify more of the karma, it'll become dharma. The duties here is for the masculine to do the work. So, I mean, I don't apply blame or assign fault or anything like that, but it seems like it's weighing really heavily on the masculine energy. The feminine is coming up really clean, pure. They've called higher judgment. They've opened themselves to wherever they're going to be led by the universe. And it seems like now there's been either transition or conversion. So if the masculine starts finding some teaching, goes to a teacher, a guru, a guide, finds somebody out there that can even be an elder, a coach, a mentor. Okay, so that's the karmic. That's the karmic assessment there. So let's do okay, engineer. So it does seem like their belief systems are very stoic, very dogmatic, very, I'm hearing the word perfunctory maladaptive. So they're robotic, reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. They're in the school and belief of Mercury. So that's below the vibration of a twin flame. They need to be in the school of belief of the sun or higher. So it seems like they're bringing this belief system to the area of secrets, of some of their fears as well. Not just that, but incarnational cycles. So since they might not be at the level where they're believing in past lives, understanding crystals or whatever, they can't do the work to clean up and get to the, because there is a connection, it hasn't been severed, but it's on the chopping block to be severed. It's just that the inquisitor, the judge here is, the inquisitor has not the seeker of this reading, but the person who would swing the scythe. They've abstained for a little while here because there's a process of awakening. And so at this current most precise time, the masculine is getting the opportunity to transform. And see, this is on the grounds of finding the ability to give creative energy to a practical expression, talent for, you know, having and figuring out common sense or designing some easily accessible resolution to a common problem. So being practical. This person's overly practical or fearful when they have to grow their belief systems. It's one or the other. It would seem like the fear here is rights. They might not respect the woman's independence and freedom, and they might not be able to go to a bigger, brighter, better place about it. This person's in the dark about the reality of the situation. They're under some type of illusion, and it's a world of thought forms. So let's go on to the more divine aspect of this connection and see how that is going. It's still going to be a lot to overcome. It seems like we need to remove our obsession about this connection. This is saying devil that we know stuck in a bad place, having difficulty moving on from karma, from the devil. Karma could be a thought form, concepted idea, excuse me for a second, concept idea. There's a lot of stuckness, inability to move on, move forward. So fear from growing, transforming, fear of the sacrifice, fear of the surrender. And it could just be what's growing out of, what's dissipating. So that could be what the connection is overcoming. It starts out in the school of beliefs. It is a belief that the universe is abundant and free, Uranian. And that school of thought is about God from a place of having intellectual abundance, divine truth, that the universe is rising up to assist you and to meet you and to co-create with you instead of, God Almighty, the fearful God kind of thing. It's definitely nothing to do with lack. And this is a new transition in love or new love beliefs. Okay. It seems like we're in the dark a little bit about the truth of the origin of this connection, and that has to deal with emotional crises, a little bit of needing to mourn or honor, accept the truth, take an inventory of emotional truths, things that happened in the past, things that are triggers. And even if this is a more divine aspect of the connection, unlike that last round that we did, this round here, it is going to be a traumatic victory, even if it is. So the victory is delayed and there needs to be some energy put into, okay, but see, again, abundance, faith, hope, optimism. If you're not a kind of person who can show up emotionally, wanting to share in people's emotions, wanting to open up your heart and let people reside in that place, that's fine, actually. There's ways around that. And you will need to get to a place where you can see with love or see with empathy or put yourself in other people's shoes. And this is more towards the masculine. Because the way that you love here is when you're called to make changes, when you're called to be of service, when you're called to make room for dharma, sattvic, clean, righteous, that type of energy. When you're called to put that work down, you feel love, masculine. Okay, now to it's coming to you so that you could illuminate, elucidate, enumerate here. There's a lot of energy here about this connection being in the dark or being in some type of stuck situation or being under specific types of energies, which are slow moving and a little bit oppressive. It can be that up until recently it was held back by some type of belief system. It could be up until recently the rights and responsibilities were held back by some type of addiction. That could be the oppression. That energy is not going in towards investing in the value of the relationship. It's servicing some type of debt, which again, spiritual debt is an addiction, can manifest, present as an addiction. So I do want to say we're growing out of that here. It's very clear. Let's move on, move forward. It would be from the devil, probably some type of criminality, crookedness. It could even be self-deception. But it seems like now every area of this person's life is coming online. And this secret, they're done. They've wrapped it up. They've fought their addiction. They've come out of the darkness. And within a couple of weeks, they're going to be beginning to resurface in the world, going towards their mastery, self illumination, knowledge of the self. They're very aware of what they have to offer in terms of thoughts, maturity, emotional commitment, their ability to communicate, show up, be present, engaged. So it's almost like some destined alignment. Multiple different timelines get merged into one, it feels. So there's healing predicated here upon resolution of some type of addiction. It feels like it's a criminal thing. Now, they could have been stuck inside of some type of contract, employment contract, marriage contract. To a lesser degree, it could be probation, parole, something of that nature. But I don't necessarily see that because this masculine energy here is very, this is like esteem. They've like cultivated whatever they are over many, many, many years, but they were stuck in some type of binding agreement. So I'm finding here that there is going to be a traumatic victory. It's going to be several pushes that are going to be emotionally, I wouldn't say exhausting, but I just heard that. Emotionally traumatic, traumatizing. But it's going to equalize this entire world here for you, the two people in the connection. Now, the recommendation here is, first of all, honor and acknowledge that it's the feminine here with the higher judgment. The masculine is going to need to design their life because it is guided that the masculine might need to take an inventory of their gifts, their practice, their craft, their mantra, meaning get a little meta. What are your thoughts about your thoughts? What are your feelings about your feelings? What are your actions about your inaction? Also adopt that neutral, detached, observational place because they get very, the masculine, very agitated if they think their rights are being impinged upon, and it keeps calling them criminal. So there is criminal law here, and it is the world of laws. So that tells me probation, parole, institutional laws too here, which could mean rehabs, jails, hospitals, psych wards. It just doesn't seem like the masculine is underneath it. Now, there's one small line here where somebody met somebody and they were in, the masculine was involved in the feminine's life somehow. Like they had, you know, responsibility over them, where it would have been unethical to engage in the connection. And honestly, the fact that there was the need to wait and not just go for it, that was the karma. And it seems like it's being alleviated within the next 2 weeks. So over this next 2 weeks, from the 1st onwards to the 13th of September, there's going to be an alleviation. An expediation, meaning a quickening, a fasting. So getting to the end, it's like skipping to the end of a movie, expediting karma, bringing it out up to the surface to be washed away. And part of it is that there's going to be an ejection from whatever this karmic thing. I honestly feel like somebody met somebody in prison and one person was on one side of the bars and the other person, or in the mental institution, or in the divorce court, or you came into a battered woman shelter. That all of those things can apply. and you met your person and you couldn't move forward with the connection. And it's very secret. The whole cycle has been very, very secret. And that's not negatively aspect. I keep looking for evil, and there's evil here, but it's not falling on a person. So it is the situation. The masculine is supported by the Hermit. The Empress is supported by the higher judgment card, the Aeon. And I feel like the masculine had power over the feminine. But let's do another assessment, because it's saying stuck in a hard place. So I would assess here, there was a delay in moving forward. It wasn't happening because it would have been held to pay. So there was it became a secret, and it was a secret involving work or the institution. It was yeah, because the institution was dealing with people that they might not have been able to manage themselves. And it feels like a lot of criminal law, but it's telling me it's more of like a hospital, this institution, or rehab. So the criminal law here is that it's been criminalized institutionally through the policies and procedures to engage or to fraternize with the wards or the whoever the subjects are. And see, the masculine is the one bearing that responsibility, not the feminine. It would be the feminine that would get the masculine in trouble. So that's what I'm seeing very clearly here. It took a while to get there. Now, the signs that we have for both karmic and divine: Virgo, Cancer, Scorpio, most specifically the rising sign, but also if you have a Jupiter in Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn, Neptune in Scorpio, now you could be a Scorpio rising, you could have something in Scorpio, like your sun, your moon, also your Venus. Also, you could have no, it would be Scorpio. Scorpio sun, Venus, moon, Saturn, rising. If you're Taurus, if you're an Aquarius rising as well, this could include you. That would be a Scorpio midheaven. Mainly Sun, Venus, Saturn, Moon, rising, midheaven, any of those Scorpio. So if it resonates with you, that's what matters. But if I called your energies out and I've said things that have made your ears perk up, this is also for you. Okay, so we have Queen, but it's a fallen queen. So somebody that's regal royal, but she was taken off the throne for a minute. And then we also have King here. So there's a real, true, legitimate situation. A real, true, legitimate love connection. And I brought it down, intentionally put them together, but the masculine is waiting for some higher decision to come through so that the feminine could be available to begin this partnership. Loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. Okay, so becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling, and demanding. I'm hearing mental challenges. So let's take a different tack just really quick. Peaceful resolution. Unlikely. You know, don't change your strategy suddenly, whatever it is. Wait. Wait until the coast is clear. Wait until you have an abundant time. Don't cut corners. If there's anything nasty legally going on, you really need to withdraw your energies. If somebody's filed any kind of complaints, true or otherwise, wait. The time will make itself known. You can take action. Prepare to take action and do more thinking, strategizing right now. Your plan is pretty okay, but it's not going to happen the way you think, and you need to wait until the moment actually calls to you to act. I'm going to do a Rumi Oracle. Been having trouble with the readings and the energies and stuff, so I'm just opening up a record for everything because it's easier, it cuts to the BS for me. And I can tell if something's trying not to be said because I could see the interference right then and there. Also, this is actually a 22 card reading. I mean, it's 11. The other one is 11 by 11. So this is technically still 22 cards into the Garden of Delights. And this is on the grounds of blessing, hand, and choices. So you are the elevated spirit, divine feminine. We're going to be reading from Alana's Fairchild's Rumi Oracle, card number 28 on page number 127. Let me show you the card. The Garden of Delights, into the Garden of Delights. Are you aware that sweetness is found everywhere in town? Are you aware that winter is gone and spring has come around? Are you aware that sweet basil and the carnation are whispering in the garden and laughing about how simply everything is found? Are you aware that the nightingale has come back from its flight singing out messages of love to spread delight with every sound? Everything in the garden is granted the right from the divine court to appear for our delight. Everything is here to make the earth green and alive as a haven for our life. What remains buried in the soil will always endeavor to reach out. No one truly alive can ever be pawned to a prison or a tomb. So wow, that was a lot. Okay, so are you ready? Are you ready? Because I ain't ready. But I'm gonna do this. Okay, let's do this. So first of all, the universe is conspiring to help you. And the time is coming, but you need to feel abundant in yourself right now. So regardless of the connection comes together or not, you should feel in love with life. You should feel in love with the universe. You should feel in love with the future. There's a spot when entering the Garden of Delights, a moment where the senses have gorged themselves upon beauty and become heavy with their fullness, slowing the mind so that it can perceive the divine beloved dancing behind the veils of nature. But first comes the sensual feasting. Blooming orchids arrest the gaze with their startling and strange beauty. Nectar from the ripest fruits of the garden drips, luscious and sweet, upon a savoring tongue. Hungry for gossip, thy ears shamelessly eavesdrop amongst the birds in melodic conversation. They sing of greatest, most passionate love and boundless living joy. The ears open wide to take it all in. The craving for touch is sated by rough textured bark falling from the ancient trees, soft dewy grasses, cool in the shade, the crunching leaves making their sounds under the hot sun, and dancing feet. the caress of that sunlight upon bare shoulders, with weight of its own, like a silken wrap placed just so by a caring lover's hand. The breeze, the very breath of the beloved earth mother, is a sweet with scent of lavender and jasmine, warmed by the sun father. Oh, drink it in, your arms raise themselves to heaven. Your head tilts, eyes rolling back in your head, and your sacred animal body is mindless and in love. The garden of delights, narcotic in effect, lulling the senses from tension into sacred languor, that love may be experienced. Let us rest here in the midst of so much life, where the goodness of life is felt and the heart is free from any prison of pain or doubt. Come, be in the garden with me now. Let us be free and feast to our heart's content. Yeah, so if you go to a place of fear, you're divided from this connection because it's only going to come when you're in your highest self. So you don't need to go and make somebody do something or go and be somewhere or go and do something in order to manifest the connection. The only thing you need to do is be at the right vibration, be in alignment in your right vibration. That was a lot. So we're still going to piece through this. You have been granted entry into the sacred space, a mihrab, a sanctuary for worship. A mihrab is a sanctuary. So when the soul is well equipped with love, life becomes a temple of love, the sacred space in which the soul can grow powerful through expansive worship of love. You're being invited by your spiritual brother, Rumi, to enter into life, to commit to coming alive. Even if at times this feels deeply challenging, sometimes a part of you may rather stay locked in an illusion of security for a time, perhaps expressed through the preference for what is known over what is unknown, what is familiar and comfortable compared to what is unfamiliar or uncomfortable. To tussle with the parts of us that would deny aliveness is a natural part of growth. It can seem so risky with such potential from heartache or for heartache, and yet what could be more heart wrenching than is the slow death of the precious human soul, suffocated by the fear and inertia of the unknown. This is the greatest risk of all, of never really and fully being born into this world of wonders. So allow me to be your midwife here, okay? This is to ensure full spiritual birth, if you would. Standing at the threshold with you now, if I may, you are being asked to cross into this threshold from the life you have been living into the aliveness that is flickering and glowing at your feet. Glowing at your feet. It is love's wild, hot embers at your sacred feet. They will erupt at any moment into the holy flames, taking a hold of you and igniting you from within, transforming you into a living fire, into a living flame. To come alive also requires the shedding of so much adherence to fear of death. The great universe whispers wisdom into your heart. You have heard it, felt it already. The fear of death is so much more terrible than death itself. Nothing is dying in you but fear, so the heart can live more freely. Death and life are twin angels dancing together in communion with the sacred. They are not opposed. Again, they are not at opposition. They bring the soul aliveness and make the garden of delights possible. They bring the seasons of the soul that foster growth and take the appearance of dying away, which is actually part of the cycle of life again and again and again and again. You have been through so much death, dear one, around you, within you. You have known the dark angel. That is why you are so full of life. Your attempts to stay as you are have been to render something in your life immobile or impervious to change, have failed, okay? Let us celebrate. There is no delight in frozen moments long since past. Why try to feast upon such food? if it will not nourish you anywhere near as deeply and as fully as fresh from the oven morsels of life. Come, let us taste all that is on offer. We will drink heedily, sate our deepest desires. Let us enjoy the richness of the meal in gratitude for its preparation and awe at the skill involved in such a masterful creation. Do not let thy memory of death starve you of your participation in life. Do you hold on still to that which is past? I will soothe you with a loving touch upon your back, and yet gently I will turn your head to the right and urge you to see the rising sun. Your life is blessed, you see. I want you to know this now. I want you to accept this now. Let those horrors of the past be gone. They are no more than phantoms. The garden is here with you now, to be touched, tasted, seen, heard, felt, inhaled, and loved. This oracle comes to you with a message. A new day is dawning for you. This is a time when the past will soon cease to have any hold over you. Celebration is imminent. You are invited into the garden light of divine plenty. Put your worries behind you now and step into your divine inheritance where all is sorted according to the kindness and the grace. Sacred honoring healing ritual. Okay, take a moment, take a break, pause if you need to. When we come back, we're going to say out loud. Okay, so I hope you took your break. Pause and come back if you need to. I accept the gift of golden grace and healing now to leave behind all prisons and tombs, conscious and unconscious, of heart and of mind. I open up to life and assistance through unconditional love in being present to the miraculous beauty that seeks to live through me, as me, and in benefit to all humanity now. I know myself to be worthy of this grace, to be this grace. So be it. Place your hands gently on your heart and rest for however long it feels good. When you are finished, you have completed the ritual. So again, say out loud, I accept the gifts of golden grace and healing now, to leave behind all poisons, prisons, and tombs, conscious and unconscious, of heart and of mind. I open up to life and assistance through unconditional love, in being present to the miraculous beauty that seeks to live through me, as me, and in benefit to all humanity now. I know myself to be worthy of this grace, to be this grace. So be it. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. If anything I said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Also, you can book a consultation assessment in the information below. There is a special going on. So take good care of yourself until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dandavat, and Ashe.